This one was tough.
Come, gentlemen, all, enjoy the sweet taste of living.
Some films, even complex ones, come together very easily. Others can be a challenge. In the case of the Red Bordello, it was a matter of anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
By God. We had been, as you know, looking for a Mathias for ages, and that is one of the reasons why, in my opinion, the opera took a little longer to be able to film, because I was very picky about my leading man in this case. I needed him to have that chemistry with me. Not just a sexual chemistry, but a soul chemistry. And after auditioning many people, as you know, I almost was ready to give up, that maybe we're not going to find the guy. So after the last audition that we had, I really sat down and I prayed. And I said, God, clearly this is not working without your help. So please send me the right Mathias. And within a day, here is Mathias come to life.
I was born by a creek, by the cleanest water in town.
Of course, the role of Mathias is sung by Mark Anthony Brown. How did Mark Anthony compare to other baritones with whom you've worked?
He brought the gentleness of Mathias, but also the authority of Mathias when he needed to be. And his voice, in terms of color, is perfect for the role because it's dark and heroic, but has a little bit of vulnerability not in technique, certainly he has a wonderful technique, but in terms of emotion. What Mathias has are the different, many complex layers as a human being, and I think that Mark Anthony's voice has all of those colors in it that brings this role to life.
Cheer my soul as well. When she said to me, touch it warmly, and it healed my heart. Praise Susanna, praise Susanna, the finest woman I know.
Susanna, of course, proves her excellence every time she opens her mouth to sing or appears on film. Every one of my operas from Color of Vengeance on was written as a vehicle for her unique blend of tree-smashing stentorian operatic power and dynamic acting. She doesn't disappoint in this show, though she's asked to play much more of a true heroine than the bad girl types for which she is known both in opera and straight film. She gives us a bit of both as Savannah Redd, because while Savannah is heroic and deeply devoted to God, she's also a sexual free spirit who is comfortable in her role as a courtesan. She uses sex as power in a cruel world run by cruel men, but she rewards Mathias, a truly good and deserving man, by giving him her heart and soul. Now, as your humble narrator, I want to assure you that I am actually humble when it comes to my singing. The last thing I intended to do was to play a character in this opera, let alone two characters. I had my buddy Randy Finley lined up to sing McGregor, and had planned to find a fully non-operatic pop singer to play and sing Bennington. Both roles were cast by September of 2025. We finally had girls in position to play the harlot ghosts. It was time, after 2 years and a lot of hard work on the property itself, to start filming. The person cast as Bennington, who will remain nameless, simply ghosted the production. He was to be well paid for the role, and there was really no reason for his behavior. I decided, therefore, that Bennington would be played by a stocky, middle-aged Mexican guy, yours truly, as opposed to the wiry young con man that I had envisioned. The show had to go on. The other actors deserved it. Then, just before he was supposed to come out, Randy Finley's schedule completely blew up. Employers that had promised he could come out for filming forced him to stay in Seattle, citing the government shutdown of 2025 as the reason. I had cast the entire film around Randy's schedule. His inability to make the shoot put me in a position wherein I would have to reschedule an entire cast, or simply replace one actor in a 2 to 3 day period. Bad choices both. Randy assured me that my vocal performance as McGregor on the demo was better than what he had recorded. I don't know if he was just being modest or not, because I've never received the recordings from him, so there was no way for me to even put his voice together with my acting. So I overlowered my lyrics, re-recorded some spots, and did the best I could to sound like a high lyric baritone with villainous intent.
I hanged Mathias like an ape, Savannah.
Now, I know you're not that much of a rock and roll fan on the whole, but you've come to be a Bruce Thomas fan due to his work on the opera. Was the experience of singing to his bass lines at times odd for you as an opera singer, or did you feel that the different genres meshed together?
I thought it was seamless. I didn't feel at all like, oh, I'm singing to a bass that is not a traditional bass as in the orchestra. I thought Bruce is just an amazing bass player. Of course, you don't need me to tell you that. The whole world already knows it. And I just adore him as a person and greatly admire him as a musician.
Now, you sang all of the female choral parts in this, which is something other opera divas usually don't have to do. How was that experience for you?
A little bit nerve-wracking at times, only because I think that sometimes, given the lack of time in recording, sometimes I feel like I had to learn all the parts very, very quickly, and those harmonies are not easy to just pick up and do without a lot of rehearsal. So at times, a couple of inner voices were a little bit challenging, but definitely hearing the whole chorus back is just so powerful. It's one of my favorite parts of the opera, the female chorus.
Evening, ladies, has the snare offended you? Insolence.
Verdi put music in his operas that he called banda, meaning to be fun party music in order to set a scene. Mozart went as far as to have different tiers of singing. Buffo characters are not supposed to have as heroic voices as opera seria characters. Likewise, Bennington is not supposed to have an operatic sound at all, but rather something that would work in a Broadway musical. I growl at times, and then sing with a slender, breathy croon at other times. Don't be too hard on Savannah. She often only thought with her heart, but she often thought with other parts as well. Oh, did I tell you? He was brazen. The savage turned the harlot's head. Then he murdered her. He murdered them all. Oh, what did I tell you? My Mathias. The savage turned the harlot's head. Then he murdered her. Oh, what did I tell you?
Now, we had a lot of help in the casting for the show, in particular from V3 Entertainment, that's Demetris, who found Cam for us, and Heather Aaron, who, in addition to playing the duplicitous Cherry, also helped us to find many of the soldiers as well as the other Harlot ghosts. How valuable were their efforts in helping us out, in your opinion?
Tremendously helpful. I think that without that help, we would probably still be filming, because we would have kept looking and looking and looking and trying to find people left and right.
I've been lighthearted in my discussion of the challenges that came with turning this opera into a film. The truth is, however, that the work is heavy in nature, not just because it's a ghost story that depicts violence and murder at times, but also because of the very real art imitating life issue that is the absence of proper romantic and heroic roles for African American men in opera. Very much like the Jim Crow era in which this ghost story is set, opera itself has still done very little to correct this problem. Perhaps that is why it was so difficult to find a singer to premiere the role of Mathias. I'm just one crazy composer in my little neck of the woods, presenting my art as I see fit. Perhaps, however, my effort to correct this injustice will lead to changes elsewhere.